right. Hi, guys. I was just preparing myself here. I just put some notes for myself here to talk to you about studying in Canada. I did promise this video, and I promised that I was going to go live and give you a step-by-step process on how to come to study in Canada. So that's what I'm doing. If I haven't met you, my name is Seraphine. Welcome to my channel. And today we're going to go over the step-by-step process on how to come to study in Canada. Again, I am not an immigration consultant. This is me sharing my experience and a little bit of more research of what I want to talk to you about. But I will take you through exactly what I did and what I will do, because the links and everything is very long, too long for the description in the description of the YouTube channel. So what I'll do, I'll just put a link there, and if you want this information, just go on, fill a form, and then you'll receive it in your inbox. Okay, I'll do this after the video, so if you're watching this video now, you won't see it there in the description now, but I will put it after I finish this video. Okay, I'm going to make it as quickly as I can. Again, my name is Seraphine. Welcome to my channel, and let's go over exactly what you need step by step. If I sound like I'm in a hurry, it's because I'm tired. It's the end of my day, but I did promise this 2 days ago, so here it is. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is decide what kind of study program you want. All right, and if you see me looking on the side, it's because I'm looking at my notes. The first thing you want to do is decide what kind of program you want to study. All right, whether it's a diploma program, a certificate program, or a bachelor's program, a degree program, or a doctorate program. So you can study for even as little as 1 year if you want to get a visa to come to Canada. As little as 1 year. In fact, I believe that even 8 months, so long as it's 8 months and above, you can get a visa to come and study in Canada. Now, the thing is that the college or the university that you choose has to be accredited by the government. And with every university or college that you look at, there is going to be a number, okay? An accreditation number that you will find, all right? So a designated institution number that you will find on each of those. If you can't find one, okay, it means that you should not apply to that college, because it is a college that the government doesn't recognize, and you will not get a visa even if you get accepted to those kinds of colleges that do not have an accreditation number by the government. Okay, so again, it's either an 8-month and above certificate program, or a diploma program, 1 or 2 years, or your undergrad, which is your first degree, usually 4 years in Canada. Or and if you're transferring your credits from a university in Kenya and you're allowed to transfer those credits here, then it might be shorter. Or you're coming to do a graduate program. What we call a graduate program in Kenya is a master's program. Or you're coming to do a doctorate. Okay, find a university. Now, what you want to do again is find out exactly which university you want to go to. Sometimes the university determines where you want to live, or where you want to live determines which university you go to. So you have to decide on that. And for that, you want to study the provinces of Canada and decide where you want to live. The provinces that are very cold and the provinces that are okay, like BC is okay. I live in Ontario right now. It gets very, very cold. I used to live in New Brunswick. It gets extremely cold. If you go to the Northern Territories, it's a nightmare. So you decide. I mean, there are people who live there. And again, I said, don't look at places where people are living, people you know live, because if people live there, you can live there as well. All right. Just a note on that is that provinces that are not as densely populated are going to be easier to get into, because they are looking for people. They're looking for students, they're looking for workers, they're looking for diversity. Okay, so those are going to be easier to get into, and it's easier to get jobs in those provinces. Although the jobs there are fewer, opportunities are fewer there, and the pay is lower in those provinces. So you have to bear that in mind. Okay, now, then you want to apply to those colleges, and you want to apply to at least 3 or 4 colleges, because you will get rejected by some of them for one reason or another. I got rejected by the first university I applied for, then I applied for the next one, which happened to be a sister university to the one that rejected me, and then I got in anyway. Okay, so once you apply, you then need to have your language certification done. Yes, even if you speak English, yes, you do need to get that language certification done. Now, Canada is a country that speaks English predominantly, but then there are 2 provinces that speak French. So the only bilingual province in Canada is New Brunswick. That's the one I was living in before. So that's a province where it is required that all services be provided in English and in French. Okay? And then there is Quebec. Quebec is a French-speaking province. There are people there who speak English, and there are English schools. But if you have kids and you go to Quebec and you didn't study for your high school in Quebec, in an English-speaking high school in Quebec, your children will not be allowed to go to an English high school in Quebec. So it's based on you, the parent, that the kids will be allowed to go to an English-speaking school. In other words, if you go to Quebec, just know that your kids are going to be required to go to a French-speaking school with a French curriculum. All right? So you could call that many, many things, and I don't want to talk about that in this video, but it weeds out a lot of people, right? So if you speak English, you don't want to go to Quebec. If you don't speak French, you don't want to go to Quebec. If your kids don't speak French, you don't want to go to Quebec, all right? And they're also very selective about allowing people to move to Quebec, right? The points are higher. It's different, okay? It's very different. All right. So now you get your English certified. Now, English is certified by, I think, 3 different organizations. Please choose WES. WES. I'm going to put their link on the sheet that I'm going to be sharing with those who want it. We're going to complete the form that I'm going to leave in the description. WES. It does cost you money to do that. So applying to colleges doesn't cost you money. But now getting your English certified does cost you money. It's about $200 US dollars. All right. Now, if you speak French and if you want to go to Quebec, which is a French-speaking province, you will need to take a French test. It's called the TEF, which stands for Test d'Évaluation Française. It is offered by the Alliance Française wherever you are. Okay, in Kenya. I'm mainly speaking to Kenyans, but this is also in Uganda and Tanzania. So you go to the French center there, the Alliance Française center there. They will offer the TEF. And when you choose TEF, there's TEF for life, I think, and then there's TEF for academic purposes. And then for academic purposes, you want to choose immigration to Canada. So there are different levels of French that the TEF offers. You want to choose immigration to Canada. It's very clear on the website, all right? That's if you're going to Quebec, all right? Now, once those are done and you've applied, you want to ask TEF, you want to ask Alliance Française to send that result directly to the university that you're going to accept to go. You have been accepted to and you want to go to. You want to have them send that directly there. Even your English certification, you want to ask WES to send it directly to the university that has accepted you, because they need that, even if you speak good English. Even if you're going for your graduate studies or your PhD studies and your first degree is in English, you will still need to take an English test and have your English verified by WES. If you did not grow up in Canada, they will test you. In fact, even if you grew up in Canada and you're Canadian, whether you're Canadian African American or you're Canadian Caucasian, and you leave the country, live there for 6 months, if you come back and need to plug into the school system, they will require you to take an English test. Can you believe it? Yes. Just to make sure that all kids understand the language of instruction, and that's not going to be a barrier to education. I know it sounds like somebody thinks you don't speak good enough English, but that's not what it is. It's to make sure that all the kids in school will understand the language of instruction, and it is not going to be a barrier to education. All right. As I said in an earlier video, if you haven't watched that video, I'm going to link it up here. It's going to come up next. Please watch that video. That helps you understand exactly what I talked about in the previous video. Now, and I said the reason they do that is so that there's no barrier to education, because if are coming with kids, even those kids will need to be tested. They don't have to go through the test at WES, but they will be tested by the school admitting system here to check what the level of English is, and if they need extra English classes to understand the instructions in the classrooms, they will be required to take extra classes to bring their English up to the Canadian speed. Okay, now you have applied to the universities, you've been accepted to the universities, you've done your English accreditation, and then you've done your French accreditation. If you're going to Quebec, you also need to certify your level of education in Kenya or whichever country you live in. That means that if you have your high school certification, you need to send that high school certification to West. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's your academic qualifications that you need to send to WES. For your English test, you need to study for a test called the IELTS. We generally call it IELTS. Now, IELTS is offered by the British Council. In any country, you go to the British Council or go to the British Council website, which I will attach to the document that some of you might ask for. It in Kenya, it's offered maybe 3 or 4 times a year. So you need to time your application. It's a process. I planned for my move for 2 years. But if you plan this properly, you can do it within 6 months. But you need to watch all these different dates for the different items that are required for you to make a full application. All right. So you need to plan this. And I'm going to give you this list. And I've tried to do it sequentially to show you exactly the things you need to do. So that also helps you with sequencing all the things you need to do. And then you can just plug in dates of each and every item as and when you need them. Okay. And just remember, as you make your applications, you generally come to universities in September, okay? Here, the school year begins in September. The North American system is that the school year begins in September and runs until June, all right? So acceptance to universities starts in September. That's the fall semester, right? Okay. Now, I don't know of any universities that accept people in January because the school year runs from September to June. Right, because now then there's a summer, then people come back to school again. So that's how it runs. All right. So this is a good time to start applying. If you want to come here in September and you have most things, right now is a good time to start applying because you can make the September intake. Now, bear in mind that even as universities have accepted you and you have done your IELTS test and your academic qualifications in Kenya or wherever it is you studied have been verified by WES, you need to make the application now for the visa. And as we talk about the certification of your academic credential, please remember that you need to liaise with the Kenyan National Examinations Council to send your transcript, okay? For those of us who have degrees, the highest level of academic qualifications that you received. So if you start with the Kenya National Examination Council and then you have a degree from, say, Nairobi University, you don't need to certify the high school degree because you have a higher level. You need to certify the undergrad degree, your first degree from Nairobi University. You need to send that diploma, okay, that diploma from the Nairobi University. You need to send it to WES and have them certified so that you can come into Canada for a master's degree program or any other program. Maybe you're just going to come to do a two-year diploma in project management, for example. That highest level of education that you've achieved needs to be certified by WES, and WES needs to send the original to the college that you have decided that you want to go to. Remember, I said you have to apply to at least 3 or 4 because you might get rejected. Right? And to apply, there is no charge to apply to those universities. All right? But they will ask you for a lot of documentation, have those ready, and then the British Council will send them one direct transcript of your English test, and the rest of the test results will be sent to you. Okay? And then you will send them, WES will send them, British Council will send them, and you have to pay for all these tests. And then even the Alliance Française will send them your French results if you're getting accepted to a university in Quebec. All right. So those are 3 items. I'm going to go over them again. Your certification of your academic qualifications, the highest level of academic qualifications. Then certification of your English test from the British Council. The English test is called IELTS, all right? And then if you're going to Quebec or you're going to New Brunswick, it will help you to have the French also certified. You need to do the test d'évaluation française, TEF, specifically the one for immigration to Canada. You'll see this very clearly on the website. All those need to be sent to the university, okay? All right, we're moving on to the next level. Then you need to apply for the visa. Now, before you apply for the visa, you need to understand the average amount of money you need for your tuition for a year, okay? If it's going to cost $15,000, the 15,000 Canadian dollars to study for a full year in a Canadian university or a Canadian college, whichever that you choose, and I'm going to give you a tip just now. You need to have that $15,000 in an account. So it's the tuition amount of money that you're going to use for a full year and your living expenses for a full year. Okay? Now, at a minimum, your living expenses for a full year is estimated by the government as $10,000, 10,000 Canadian dollars. All right? So whichever college you come to, whether it's a university college or a community college, which is much cheaper, which is the trip I was talking about, you need to have, say, the $15,000 if you're going to an undergrad, which is a university college, plus the $10,000, which is the estimated annual living expenses for a student, all right? Which means you will need to have $25,000 Canadian dollars in an account sitting there for more than 3 months. If it's not sitting there for more than 3 months, the government, the visa office will assume that you only borrowed that money and put it there for the purpose of applying for that visa, which means you actually don't have that money, and then you're going to come to Canada and then become a burden. So they will not give you a visa. Okay? Now, if you're getting sponsored by somebody who has good bank statements, meaning that they have enough money in those bank accounts, that money needs to be sitting there for a good period of time, or it needs to be coming and going frequently in those kinds of amounts. It doesn't need to be together, the $25,000 together, but it needs to be in those large amounts, say 10,000 coming in and going out, so that it shows movement in that account, good movement in that account, and then those accounts cannot be in the negative. There has to be some good amount of money in those accounts, all right? So if you are getting sponsored, please make sure that those bank accounts that somebody is giving you, bank account statements that somebody is giving you to use for your visa application are actually going to help you, all right? Now, I'm just going to go down to the bottom of my notes here. Just give me a minute there. All right. Bank statements, we talked about that. Now, you're also going to be required to take a medical exam. This medical exam is taken at the Immigration International Organization of Immigration, IOM. They have an office in Gary, just behind... I don't remember what that shopping center is, right opposite the United Nations. Further in there is the IOM clinic. Just find the direct. I'll put the number in the document that I'm going to be sharing with those who want it. So call them, find out. It costs about 16,000 Kenya shillings to take the test. Now, be aware that if you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, and it's out of control, and you're on high-level dosage medication, you will have a problem. If your high blood pressure is high, you will be rejected. If you have the diseases that are generally considered high maintenance, yes, like HIV, you are told that you're going to be counseled so that you can live positively with it, but it could be a problem. I'm not saying you will be rejected, but it could be a problem. So be aware of that, all right? Are there other ways of getting around it? Maybe there are, right? And it's not something I want to talk about. Now, when you apply for your visa, so you've done your application, you've been accepted to a university, and getting accepted to your university is pretty quick. I mean, within 2-3 weeks, you know whether you're accepted or not. They're pretty fast, really. Then you have your English certification going into the university. You have your academic qualification certified by West going into the university. If you're going to Quebec, then your French also going in. I'm going to put resources in that document. There's a lot of resources here, right? I haven't done it. I just rushed to do this video because some of these resources you can actually go online and do it. It takes a lot of time for me to do this. I found a moment, made the video first, and then I will do the document and I will send it, hopefully. Okay? If you don't find it, just send me a message and I'll send you the form later on, okay? I haven't even put the link for the form in the description. I haven't had a moment, guys. This takes a bit of time, so just be patient, bear with me. I'm finding time to do this because you're asking me the questions. This is not my full-time job. I am not an immigration consultant. I am just being as helpful as I can, all right? So when you apply for the visa, make sure that you have your test, done, or they will ask you the test after you apply for the visa or during the visa application, medical test. And then, of course, right now you need the COVID vaccination proof. All right, you need to have that. And then with your visa application, you will need to have a letter, an application letter. You're writing a letter to the visa officer, okay, explaining why you want to come and study in Canada. I was coming to study psychology, and I had to explain why do I want to study psychology in Canada. There are psychology degrees offered in Kenya. Why Canada? So you have to have a good letter, a good convincing letter, explaining to the visa officer why you're choosing Canada and how it will help you. And this needs to be in a way that shows that you intend to come back to Kenya. Even if you want to relocate to Canada, you need to show that your intention is to come back to Kenya. Okay, and I'm not going to talk about that on YouTube now. And if you want to go into greater detail about that, please find an immigration consultant, talk with them about it in greater detail. Now, as you're applying for the visa, there are two ways. So you can use the electronic application, which is available to you. I'm going to put a link to that. You can also apply using just paper application. Now, I did my first application using the online system, and I got rejected. I had a new passport. I quickly got rejected because that new passport only had, I think, a visa, 2 visas when I went to South Sudan and came back. So it was a new passport. I mean, you use passports and then you travel a lot, and then the book gets filled. So maybe the passport is not expired, but the book is full. So I went and got a new book. So I guess that book didn't show that I had traveled a bit, and they rejected me. No reason at all. I think that's the reason. I don't know. But apparently being rejected is very, very common. So when I called the university, I said, hey, look, you've accepted me and everything is fine, but the visa office rejected me. They said, Seraphine, don't worry about it. You qualify. Appeal. There's no reason why they rejected you. And at the very least, they have to explain to you why they're rejecting you. So I appealed. Now, this time I didn't use the online application. I put everything, because I've never been rejected for a visa anyway. And I know that this is not everybody's story. I know that some of you are going to be applying for a visa to go to travel internationally for the first time. I understand that. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But I had never been rejected for any visa. I thought, excuse me, why is Canada rejecting me? So what I did is put all my visas. I mentioned in a different video, I cried for 2 hours and then we got over it. And then I said, okay, you're going to give me a visa. So I put all my passports, okay, all my old passports, about 4 of them, showing all the countries that I've been to. I put my company information, a big, thick brochure, my coaching company information, big, thick brochure as well. I put everything, my kids' schooling, rent for I don't know how many years, mortgage, property payment, property deeds, even car title, even car logbook. I put everything in there. In other words, I was showing, look, I am not on the street here looking to run to Canada to pick the gold that you're probably lining the streets with, right? So I know how that sounds, but that actually usually is the problem. The visa officer wants to know that you're not running away and you're not likely to overstay your welcome, which is the reason I put the other passports that I had that were filled, because they show that I had traveled around the world and I'd always come back home. So I don't have a habit of overstaying my welcome in places where I've been given a visa. Usually what happens, the problem is actually that not that they don't want you to relocate, because eventually when you get here, they're begging you to relocate, as I mentioned in a previous video. But they just want to know that you have the means to support yourself to go in and to come out, and you're not going to become a burden. When you come to Canada, the first thing that happens when you land at that airport, you have most of the rights, okay? Human rights kicks in, even if you don't yet have status. You're not yet a resident. All human rights now apply. Now, they want to make sure that you're able to support yourself. Otherwise, it puts pressure on the social system, right? Much as that sounds terrible, going through the education system for the last 4 years, I've come to understand how the social system works, and it works as equitably as possible. So what happens is that they want to make sure that their taxpayers who have been living in this country and paying that tax are not denied the resources that the government has set aside to help people in need, because too many immigrants are coming in. And we can have another whole conversation about where the wealth came from and how they took advantage of all other countries and how they built their wealth. That's a whole other conversation. Let's just talk about you wanting to come to Canada for your studies and you to relocate, and this might be a better place for you and your kids, or your kids. Okay? All right. So I did say just something just a while ago that I was going to talk about that. Now I've forgotten. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. Maybe I'm having a senior citizen moment. I could sometimes get into one room and then I forget exactly what I was doing there. But if you remember what that was, or if you go to this video and look back, I might remember, and then I can do another video. If it's very important, please send me a note and I will make sure that I do another video on that. All right. If you have kids, what did I write here? If you have kids, I suppose. Okay. Now, on your visa application. So again, I recommend that you make a paper application, not an online application. Because with the paper application, you can attach a lot of things that you don't have the opportunity to attach when you're making a digital application. All right. So now, when you are applying, because you eventually want to come with your kids and your spouse, or your kids if you don't have a spouse, don't acknowledge the kids on the application. Yes, I have 3 kids, or I have 5 kids, or I have 10 kids, but say you're leaving them behind. Don't say you're coming with them. And I'm not going to talk about that on this video. Please, if you're applying, yes, acknowledge that you have the children, but they're staying behind. Are they coming with you? The answer is no. I know on the form there is yes or no. Take it from me. The answer is no, and I'm not going to get into the detail of that. Last but not least, expect to be rejected. Please expect to be rejected. Once you make that application, you pay, I think, $16,000 for the application. You pay another $8,000 for the envelope with the application to come from Riverside to Gigiri, where the Canadian embassy is. Yes, you pay for a DHL envelope. It's $8,000, a separate amount of money. Applying to do this is a money affair. I said to you, if you don't have the money, it's going to be hard. You're not just going to come. I don't care if you get a scholarship. You're still going to have to spend some money. The scholarship doesn't cover all these little things that I'm talking to you about. You're still going to have to fork out some money. So is it worth it? I'm going to talk to you about that in another video. For me, it has been worth it because of the kids. All right? So you have to determine your situation and think about the long-term benefit for you and for the kids, depending on how you live right now and what you're looking for the future of your kids or for yourself. All right? Expect to be rejected. If you're rejected, appeal. Do not just roll over and say, oh, they rejected me, and feel sorry for yourself. If you're rejected, appeal. Yes, it means apply again. And yes, it does mean you pay again the visa fee plus the amount of money you need to pay for DHL to take your application from Riverside to Gigiri, and it's 8,000 shillings. Yes, appeal. You'll get it. Okay? So I'm not going to make this video too long. I want to leave it at that, and I will do my best to have those resources properly done. I have them here. I haven't put the links there. I will make time to do that, I promise. And I will put a form in the description so you can decide whether you want those links, and then you will receive them on your email automatically. That means I will have your name, your phone number, and your email address. And yes, I might promote some other products to you from time to time. I think it's the least you can do for me, taking the time to do this video and share this useful resources with you. Okay, bye for now. Thank you for watching. Talk to you soon. I'm going to end this right now.